Hi, so I know I've shared a couple videos with different people at different times as I've been developing this site, but the development of it's pretty much done now, and so I wanted to share this with everyone. This is a website that I created that I'm using in the classroom, and a couple other teachers are already using. That's designed to make giving tests, making tests, and keeping up with data a lot easier for you as a teacher and a lot more accessible for students. The website is myclassprogress.com, and when you log in, as a teacher, you're taken to a teacher homepage, which is a little bit different than what the students see when they log in, obviously. The website's broken up into a couple different parts. The first part allows you to manage benchmark exams, which I know is a really big issue for all of us. You're able to create questions. It's kind of the beginning of it. The creating questions is really easy because when you log in, it knows what subject you teach and it knows what your standards are. So unlike Discovery Education, there's a lot less clicking and clicking and waiting every time you want to create a question. You just type in the question, you can add images. It even has a little math editor with fractions and square roots and some of the stuff that is tough for us math teachers to find. You put in the different possible answers, which answer is correct, and which standard the question connects to. This is dynamically showing, or this is showing me the 8th grade standards. If you were a 6th grade teacher that taught science, this would be your 6th grade science standards. The site's also set up for teachers that teach multiple subjects, so you can switch between your subjects really easily. So once you've created your questions, obviously you're able to edit them by standard. It just shows you all of the questions that you've created, and you pick what standard, and you can either edit it or delete it. Then you can create the benchmark exam. You just pick what standards that you want to be on the benchmark exam, and when you submit it, it's just going to show you all of the questions you've made for those standards. And you can just check box, I want that question and that question and that question, and it'll automatically add them to your benchmark exam. Once you've created the benchmark exam, you can see all of them from the benchmark exam homepage. The first thing that's cool about this is you're able to lock and unlock your benchmark exams. Locked exams are not accessible to students. Unlocked exams are. So if I just got done giving my 3rd benchmark and I don't want students to be able to go back and mess with it later, if I want to lock it, then I just click lock and it automatically switches over, and now it's not visible to students. If I want to unlock it, then now suddenly they can take it again. So then you're able to actually, when the kids click the exam, then they're going to be given the test, which is really clean and straightforward and easy to take. And they submit their exam and they're done. You get to then see some really great results. Of course, you can see each kid's grade broken up by block, but you also get this great breakdown where it's going to show you each one of the questions that was on the exam, and then each one of your students by block, it's going to show you which ones they got right and which ones they got wrong. So the ones in red they missed, the ones in blue they got right. So if I'm scrolling down and I look and I see, wow, a lot of kids seem to miss question 20, I can mouse over and it'll show me what question 20 was. Oh, wow, this was distance formula on a graph. Okay, so let's see, this student, all of them need to work on them. It's also going to show you their overall grade for the exam. Then you're also given a great view where it shows you for each question, which you can mouse over and see, which students missed it. So for this class, if I want to do a small group instruction on distance, rate, and time, well, here's my kids that missed it. So I can say, okay, well, I need to pull those students out, and I'll work with them for distance, rate, and time. This makes creating small groups really easy and data-driven, which is what we all want. Lastly, instead of seeing the results by question, you can see the results by standard. It'll figure out how many questions connected to each standard and then show you the average score for that standard. So one student maybe missed both questions, which might seem a little more severe, while another student only missed one of the 2 questions. I know there were only 2 questions because I made it, but so you can sort of see those different results. Here you can see on representations 33, 67, there were 3 questions here. So, this student only missed one of them. So obviously I'm going to go back to that view of questions and figure out, well, what was the one question this kid missed? Why did they miss that one question? And I'm able to identify that specific question and then review that one aspect of the question with the student. So that's benchmarks. Now you also have quizzes. Quizzes, unlike benchmarks, you don't pick what questions go on the quiz. Instead, it's going to randomly pull however many questions you tell it to for those students. So each time, this is awesome for redos. Each time they go back to retake a quiz, it's a new quiz. You don't have to make a new quiz for them. It's just going to make it for you. And then, of course, you can see the individual grades on those quizzes, but you're also able to see out of all of the questions, The ones in blue, those students have gotten right. So let me switch over to my second block. This is sort of just for testing. So here's my second block. The blue ones are the ones they got right. Red they missed. And the white, they just haven't been given that question. It wasn't randomly pulled for them. And of course, once again, I can mouse over and see each individual question that they got right or wrong. And then it tells you out of the number of questions they've been given, what is their score, which is a really helpful view to get a big picture of like how well are they doing on this. Then you've got online modules. I know a lot of math teachers and science teachers have a few sites they use. Language teachers have My Own Reader. You can link to outside modules like Khan Academy or IXL. You can define them here and what standard they connect to, and then you're able to see your kids' scores by standard on those modules all in one place. So instead of having to go to all of these different websites and make spreadsheets and blah, 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 it's just all right here for you. If you're looking at, say rational numbers on a number line, here's the two standards and here's how my kids are doing. Once again, I can alternate by block. Those kids haven't put them in yet, but here's some that have, so I can see how the kids are doing. Stephanie missed this. Oh, okay, well, she hasn't done this module yet. That's the first place I'm going to go if she did badly on a test to say, well, you haven't done this module. Let's work on this, and this will help you learn it. If those modules don't cover what you need them to cover, if they're not aligned to your standards, then you're able to create your own practice section. The practice questions are different from benchmark questions. And you can create them and edit them, but you can also add support material. So if a kid misses a question in the practice section, it's going to automatically load up a hint that you get to write. So, and when you create a hint, it's going to save it and show you that hint for each new question. So I can pick from the hints that Allison and I have already created, and if none of them meet my needs, then I can just make my own hint. So each question has its customized hint specific to that question for the kids to learn. And you can embed images and YouTube videos in the hints, just like you would anywhere else. So as a student, I'll show you the student view. When you go to practice, you pick what standard you need to practice, and then it's just going to pull these questions for you. And if you get the question right, then it tells you, hey, you did a good job. You got it right, and your score goes up. However, if you miss the question, then voila, it pops up a hint. Their score did go down. They have to obtain mastery to get 100%, but it's going to give them this support material, and then it presents them the same question again and forces them to do it until they get it right and learn it. All of this is a lot. Your students are able to create goals. The way that your students create goals, this helps you and your students know what they need to work on. It helps your students know what their data looks like. When a kid goes to create a goal, let's say I want to set a goal of distance, rate, and time. I'm going to put in as sort of a note that you can see as a teacher, I really need help converting minutes into hours. And my goal is to get an 80 on the next quiz. I included the goal thing because I think it's important for kids to have realistic goals, right? That's a part of a SMART goal. If a kid's just failing everything, it's totally fine if they set a goal of a 70. Like, I just want to get to a point where I'm getting more right than I'm missing. Whereas other kids may say, like, look, I made an 80, but I know I can make 100. I really want to set a higher goal. And this way the students have buy-in and motivation. Instead of you saying, hey, you need to work on this, it's the kids telling you, hey, I need to work on this. So when you say, you told me you need to work on this, now you've got that motivation. They get to pick their strengths and weaknesses, and these are pre-written by you, the teacher, to sort of guide them and help them think about, well, what do I need help with? And then as a teacher, of course, you can see that. So once I've created the goal, then the student has this view. This is something the student sees of what their goal is, why they chose it, what they said their strengths and weaknesses were. Then it shows them, to meet my goal, I'll reach mastery on the following modules. And those outside websites, it'll show you which ones line up to that standard and show the student what their current grade on that module is. Then it'll show them their most recent grade for that standard and what their target grade is to get there. And once they're done, they get to start over. As a teacher, you can see what goals your students have set. You can see by block what your students chose and why. But then you're also given this great view where you can organize it by strength and weakness. So you can see which students chose which standards and why. For grouping, that's awesome because you can then see, oh, hey, this kid said they were good at this and this kid said they were weak. I need to sit them next to each other, right? Because this is, and you can be real transparent and say, I set you two together because you happen to struggle with this and you happen to be good at it. So go at it, make it happen. To help keep all this together, instead of bouncing around, I've created a view where by student, you're able to see all of the different things, the benchmarks, the quizzes, the outside modules, even the practice sections in one place. So for this student, for each standard, I'm seeing how they've done on all of those different things combined. And this helps see trends, right? So we've got these different modules that they all have struggled with. Whereas here, this student's on the benchmark, on Khan Academy, on the other Khan Academy module, and on IXL, they seem to be doing awesome. So I don't need to work with this kid on this. Whereas here, yeah, we're gonna need to go over that. So once again, you just select what block and what kid, and there's all of the data right there that you need to see. The cool thing is the kids get this data too. They get to click on overview, and this is something a student would see. For themselves, they get to see by standard how they've done on everything. On the third benchmark, I only got 1 out of the 4 questions right. However, on the benchmark after that, I got both of the 2 questions right. So that feels like growth. They're able to see their own progress over time, and this sort of expands over time as they take quizzes. And the kids love being able to see this grow and change over time. The kids are obviously able to pick the quizzes, and the kids get to see their own quiz grades, so they know what they made immediately. And of course, it grades it all for you. You don't have to copy into the grade book. It's super easy. You're even able to, on the grades, sort by last name for gradebook, sort by grade to see who's your strongest and weakest, or sort by date. So if you're doing redos, you're able to see what the most recent test was. Kids can look at their benchmarks. Only the ones that have been unlocked are going to show up here. They're able to update their module scores as they do it in real time. And then, of course, I've already shown you they're able to practice. I would love to have some more teachers using this. I hope this seems like a resource that would be good. The whole reason I built this was because I felt like it was missing, especially as we're moving to data walls and data folders. This is a data folder. Like, just hit print and you have your data folder done. And the kids get to see it, and it updates in real time. It's also awesome to share this with parents, so parents can see what's going on and know what to expect, what type of questions are being asked. I know that with 3 weeks before TCAP, it may seem like a lot to dive into now, and I don't expect a lot of people to do that. But if this seems like something you're interested in using in the fall and maybe having the summer to build some questions and get used to it, now would be a great time to let me know and get comfortable with it. I would love to come by some people's rooms and help show them how it works and get them on board. As I said, it works for all grade levels. It works for all subjects. So I really hope that this is something you're interested in. And if it is, please tell me. Thanks.